Я готова запросити на цю сцену нашого наступного спікера, який приєднається до нас онлайн. Це Арно Кастаньє, віце-президент з питань взаємодії з урядом та зв'язків з громадськістю в Skeleton Technologies. Skeleton Technologies зросла з наукоємного стартапу до лідера в Європі і зараз будує заводи в Німеччині, Франції, Естонії. Арно виступить англійською мовою, тому якщо вам потрібен переклад, будь ласка, підійдіть до стійки і візьміть навушники. Арно, are you here? Can you hear us? Hey, so glad to meet you here, and this stage is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I hope that you can hear me.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Well, first of all, I'm very sorry not to be able to join in Kiev. It was a great pleasure for me to participate physically last year at INSCIENCE Conference. It was extremely impressive. Unfortunately, I could not travel this time, but I'm already booking my tickets for next year. And yeah, I really want to congratulate all the organizers and the other speakers that were here. I'm here my name is Arno Kastanie. Firstly, I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs and Strategic Partnerships of Skeleton Technologies, which is an Estonian company that is really specialized in high power and fast charging energy storage technology. So we are a European battery company, and we have developed and we produce what we call supercapacitors and a high power battery called super battery. So we are one of the few battery producers that are developing our technologies fully in Europe. So during this talk, I'm going to share with you the journey of Skeleton, how we started, and we actually started, as you're going to see later, from black powder, which we have developed. I'm going to share lessons learned from this journey. Also, give you a few more information regarding our business strategy and business models, because this is something that could be relevant for many of the people in the audience who are currently developing, building, or growing their deep tech company. But I also wanted to share a few thoughts regarding energy storage in Ukraine. Because as of course all of you know, much more than me, Ukraine is facing some key challenges in terms of energy storage, and here I will discuss how renewable energy and how energy storage can be a key solution for Ukraine's energy future and energy resilience. But first, a few words about Skeleton Technologies, and I'm totally aware that I will probably not convince any of you to buy some of our supercapacitors today. However, I will say a few words about the company and our journey. The company was founded in 2009 in Tartu, in Estonia. Tartu is the second biggest city in Estonia, meaning that we're not a young company anymore. We're not a startup anymore. However, as you know, in deep tech sector, when you build a deep tech company, development of the company and growth of the company can take a lot of time. So we still consider that we are a fast growing company, even if now the company is more than 15 years old. The company was founded in Estonia, and Estonia is not known for the best country to build industrial companies. Usually the country is much more known for software companies or apps. Companies like unicorns like Bolt or like Wise were founded in Estonia. So we're one of the few ones who are developing industrial companies. And when the co-founders, who are all Estonian, have launched the company, basically everyone was telling them that they should not do it in Estonia. They will struggle to get the first customers. They will struggle to move into production, and eventually it would be very difficult for them to grow the company. Eventually, 2 years later, the first major customer was secured. And as many of you who are in the tech sector know, this is absolutely crucial when you develop a deep tech startup. Securing the first customer that is going to give you the first use case, that is going to test your product, and then that is going to be really critical for you to convince other customers on the base of this use case. On the other side, that was the European Space Agency. They wanted to test our supercapacitors, our high-power energy storage devices, especially within the condition of space. This is really what has been crucial for our future growth. Is that when our products are tested and then validated and approved by the European Space Agency in space conditions, then you can tell all of the other customers, whether they're from the automotive sector or tram, railway sector or grid infrastructure sectors, you can tell them that your product is quite safe. In our case, we also explained that it cannot explode, it cannot burn, and there's no better way of testing it than putting it in a space rocket and sending it to space. So the European Space Agency was the first customer that we secured. Then we had to build our first pilot factory, which was in Estonia as well. But in 2017, we decided as an Estonian company to actually move our production to Germany. Why Germany and why Saxony, which we opened in 2017? It was because Saxony had a great experience of developing renewable energy infrastructure and also a great experience in battery materials and battery technologies. That was in 2017. Now the journey has of course continued. I'm not going to go all details, but in 2022, we launched a new product, what we call super battery, which is a high power battery. The battery technology, the battery with the highest power in the world and the fastest charging one. And now, as it has been said in the description, the company has also decided to expand beyond Germany and to open a new factory, first the R&D laboratory and then a new factory in Toulouse, France. So we grew from a small startup from Estonia into a company that is now working with customers such as Siemens, Hitachi Energy, Honda Racing, or CAF as well, the tram manufacturers, into one of the leaders in Europe in terms of battery and energy storage. That was the journey of Skeleton and where we currently are now. However, it all started with black powder, and this is what I was referring to. Is that unlike many other companies, we're not a unlike many of the battery companies, we're not duplicating existing technologies. We're not building another lithium-ion battery company. We really started initially from fundamental research on battery materials, and we have developed this black powder, which is actually the secret behind the performance of our products, behind the fact that not only our products have the highest power density on the market and the fastest charging and discharging capabilities, but also extremely low cost. It's really thanks to this black powder as well that our batteries do not need nickel or do not need cobalt, for instance. And therefore, we're in full control of our supply chain. We develop and manufacture our raw material, this black powder, which we have now called curved graphene, and we use it in the battery technologies that we have been developing and that we are producing. Meaning that our supply chain do not depend on China, for instance. We do everything actually in Europe and based on widely available material. And actually very cheap material that you can find anywhere in Europe. So this is really this innovation that brought us where we are now, and this is really the key differentiator with other battery companies. And this innovation, this curved graphene material, is what allowed us to receive 2 years ago the European Inventor of the Year award to our scientists. And this award was given by the European Patent Agency. This is really key because when you look at the other battery companies in the market, whether you're talking about CATL, LG, but even Tesla as well, none of them is developing, or none of them has developed its own patented raw material like we've been doing with our curved graphene. And we strongly believe that the next frontiers of performance in the battery industry will come through innovation in materials. It's not only going to be about changing the chemistry, about building new cells, etc., but it's really going to be about what kind of raw material you're using and how you manage to develop synthetic versions that can replace the critical materials and the toxic metals, to be frank, that most of the other battery companies are using. So we really the story of a deep tech company that started from fundamental research on materials and now has become one of the biggest battery companies in Europe. So how we're using this black powder is to really develop and produce these two products which I mentioned, the supercapacitor and the super battery. Very often when we compare ourselves with lithium-ion batteries, which many of you may be very familiar, we often explain that comparing supercapacitors and batteries is a bit like comparing Usain Bolt and Mo Farah. One is extremely fast with a huge amount of power, but for a more limited amount of time, whereas the only one is going to perform better in a longer duration. And this is explained by the fact that supercapacitors and super battery both have a much, much higher power density than any battery, and especially lithium-ion batteries, whereas both products, supercapacitors and super battery, have lower energy density than lithium-ion batteries, meaning that if your application requires really high power for a limited amount of time and really fast charging, then supercapacitors and super battery are going to be the best product. Whereas if you want to power your passenger vehicle for 400, 500 kilometers, then lithium-ion batteries would be the better fit. In the battery industry, there's no one-size-fits-all technology. There's no silver bullet. There's no battery that is going to be able to electrify and decarbonize all of the sectors, all the industries. You need the right technologies, and you need the battery technologies to solve and to fit all of the needs for energy storage. Because as you know, electrification is a mega trend, not only in the battery sector, not only in the automotive sector. It's a mega trend also when you think about heavy duty vehicles, heavy duty machinery, but also in grid infrastructure, in data centers, etc., or even in defense sector, for instance. So that's why, in terms of business strategy, again, we have key differentiators with compared to other battery tech companies, and this is something where I will encourage all the entrepreneurs in the audience to really focus on that as well. Is that we really made a point in not being dependent on one specific sector, which in many cases is the automotive sector. On our side, we have a multi-niche approach. We want to dominate all of the niches rather than going in a highly competitive market where there will be a lot of competitions coming from everywhere, and especially from Asia. So really key of our business strategy has been this multi-niche approach and the fact that we don't want to depend on one sector only. So that's why we're not targeting the passenger vehicles market. However, we want to be the highest power battery and highest power solution for a lot of very diverse applications. And I will not give too many details about all of them. However, for it to be a bit more concrete for you, where our products are used. Our products are used to stabilize power grids. And this is something extremely important. The grid battery technologies, grid energy storage, is estimated to the demand for this market is estimated to grow faster in the next 10 years than the demand for batteries for passenger vehicles. Because the more you develop renewable energy, the more you need to ensure that you have the right grid infrastructure and the right energy storage to handle the intermittency of renewable energy and allow this electricity that is intermittent to be integrated into the grid. Something extremely key, and this is a key focus for our company. Data centers as well is an extremely strong sector for us, and is a sector that is extremely power and energy heavy. In Ireland, for instance, already 25% of energy consumption goes into data centers. This is absolutely huge. So that's why energy storage and batteries are really necessary to make sure that the energy consumption is from these data centers is mitigated, and also that these data centers, especially the what we call the AI data centers, can handle all of the peak of powers, but because these data centers are becoming, with the development of AI, extremely demanding in terms of peak power and really fast response. And that's why for this they need technologies like supercapacitors and batteries. We're talking about heavy duty and transportation as well. Transportation, very important for us. And in many different applications, whether we're talking about tramways or trains, but even garbage trucks, like what we're doing in the city of Toronto, where we are electrifying these garbage trucks using our super battery, but also with mining trucks. Mining trucks have a huge need for high power and extremely fast charging because they need to be able to operate during 24 hours. And here, the key is not actually the range of the batteries. The key is really the high power and the fast charging capability, which is why they cannot use lithium-ion batteries, which are, by the way, not also the so not the safest solution. They need to use solutions that are safe, batteries that cannot explode, that cannot burn, but also batteries that are going to deliver the huge amount of power that you need for these enormous vehicles. I could go through many different other applications, and I can even give more information when we're going to have the Q&A. Another key application for us, and then I will stop here. This part about Skeleton Technologies is the nuclear energy. Skeleton is working with companies developing fusion reactors, and these companies for nuclear fusion need a huge amount of power to kick off the tokamak. And here, the only product on the market that can have the power that is necessary to kick off and power these fusion reactors are our super battery and our supercapacitors. However, as I explained at the beginning of this talk, even if it's really interesting for me to share the story of Skeleton, I also wanted to address the topic of the energy storage in Ukraine, because many changes are here, and as you're going to see in my demonstration, actually high power batteries and energy storage in general can be a part of the solution for Ukraine. So that's why I wanted to share the thoughts with you as well. Of course, energy storage and batteries are not the silver bullet, especially given the current energy situation in Ukraine, which, as all of you know better than me, is quite dire with multiple agencies. And here, of course, the short-term solutions are, of course, repairing all the generation facilities and also getting small-scale, decentralized, often gas-based generators, which can become operational very quickly, and that Ukraine really needs. However, in the long term, when Ukraine is going to, of course, win the war, and when the war will end, Ukraine will have to rebuild its entire energy infrastructure, and we think about its energy mix and its grid infrastructure. And here, I strongly believe that actually renewable energy can be a really strong part of the solution for Ukraine to achieve full energy independence in the future. First of all, Ukraine is not starting from nowhere. Actually, and perhaps some of you already know, but even in 2023, Ukraine has built actually more onshore wind farms than England, for instance. So Ukraine has always been developing some renewable energy, and regions like the Oblast of Odessa, Zaporizhia, Mykolaiv, Kherson, and Dnipro already accounted before the full-scale war for 2/3 of operating wind and solar plants. So these regions have always been some of the best regions where to develop renewable energy, because of the fact that they're sunny and very flat, which makes it very perfect for renewable energy, particularly wind farms and solar panel. However, given the circumstances of the war, we have also discovered that that wind farms can actually show a lot of resilience against drone and missile attacks, especially especially due to the fact that the turbines can be really spread out over huge distances. When you build wind farms, you don't only going to install one of them. You're going to install like 15 or 20 of them, and while a missile can destroy or stop at least an electric power plant with a single strike, it's not the case with an entire wind farm, because even if you can target one or two wind turbines, these turbines are spread out over huge distances. It makes it much more difficult to actually take them down. So this is why we have also discovered with this full scale war that decentralized electricity generation can be is way less exposed than huge whether nuclear or gas-fired power plants or coal-fired power plants. Decentralized electricity generation is less vulnerable to attacks. Again, because the turbines can be spread out over huge distances. So even right now, while the war is still going on, the deployment of renewable energy must still be one key priority for Ukraine. And we saw, as I mentioned, that Ukraine is already doing a lot of work and building more onshore wind farms. But there are also examples regarding solar panels, for instance, just like in Irpin, where next to Kiev, where schools were rebuilt with solar panels so that children can study even during the blackout. So that's why we strongly believe that the future of Ukraine is going to be based on renewable energy. Of course, still nuclear power is going to remain important. However, developing more renewables, more decentralized electricity generation is going to be one of the key of Ukraine's success in the future. And by the way, Ukraine already had, before the full-scale invasion, a goal of 25% of electricity from renewables by 2035. However, the development of renewables is going to bring extra challenges. One of them is the need to modernize physical energy infrastructure, and especially the grid infrastructure. So the need for this modernization of the grid infrastructure goes, for instance, with enhancing what we call the grid balancing capabilities, and also addressing the lack of storage capacity. This is going to be one of the key issue with the development of renewable energy in Ukraine, is that at the moment the grid infrastructure is not made for decentralized and intermittent electricity. So this is why the bolstering of the storage capacity will be really vital, especially if we want to expand what we call the microgrids, which are the grids that prevent initially isolated grid failure or disruption from becoming widespread. And as all of you know, renewable energy production is constant. It's really intermittent today. So the storage capacity is absolutely key to bank power when generation is higher for use when generation is lower. So investing in renewable energy and deployment of more renewable energy is going to be one of the key for Ukraine's energy independence and energy supply. However, building and deploying these technologies is not enough if at the same time you do not address the challenge of the physical grid infrastructure, which is going to be a key topic for Ukraine in the future. And this is where high power energy storage technology can come into play, because just as what I explained earlier, and these are the things that we are already doing. The fact of developing energy storage and adding grid batteries does not only mean that you need to store for the longer term, but you need also to be able to handle the fast frequency and handle the fast answer that is needed due to the intermittency of this renewable electricity. So this is where the need for not only for long duration batteries but also for high power batteries is also going to be key for Ukraine's grid infrastructure. Because this infrastructure, the grid infrastructure, needs to be modernized, it needs to become more decentralized, and need the high power necessary to handle the fluctuation of the production of electricity from renewables and integrate it into the grid. So again, this is a very concrete example of where high power batteries, high power energy storage technologies like supercapacitors as well, can play a role in improving Ukraine's grid stability and security. But here I'm fully convinced that that after Ukraine's victory at the end of the war, Ukraine can really turn this devastation into opportunity, and Ukraine will be able, or should be able, to transform its energy grid, which has been greatly vulnerable to attacks during the war, into actually a great asset. But it goes through two key things that are going to be critical for Ukraine: investing in deployment of more renewable energy on one side, and investing massively in expanding and decentralizing and modernizing the grid infrastructure. So these are the challenges that Ukraine will face and is already facing. But this is the key to rebuild the new energy system and ensure the energy resilience and independence of the country. But Ukraine has demonstrated already all its resilience and innovation. So I have no doubt that this is going to happen, and Ukraine will be key in Europe's energy independence in future. Thank you very much, everybody. So now I'm ready for to
Thank
take
you,
any.
Arno, for such an amazing presentation. And we have a couple of minutes for some questions. And I see the hand right there. Can anyone approach too? Thank you.
Добрий день. Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Daria, and I want really to thank you for this presentation and for this great technology. And it really makes real the global goal of climate neutrality by 2050. So I can believe this dream will come true. But what about the digestion of these batteries after it become like not working? I mean, lithium-ion batteries are used to be dangerous waste, but what about this technology?
Thank you very much for this question. Indeed, it's one of the key features of our supercapacitors is the fact that unlike lithium-ion batteries, for instance, the supercapacitors are not going to explode or not going to burn. And this is due to the fact that we're not using chemistries, we're not using toxic or dangerous metals like nickel and cobalt, which when they interact with each other can create some explosions. So essentially, a supercapacitor is just aluminium and our curved graphene. So that's why you can even take a supercapacitor and go on a plane with it. It's not going to be forbidden because it doesn't include any of this toxic or dangerous metal. Regarding a super battery, we do use lithium. However, we're using 40% less lithium than lithium-ion batteries. And again, this is what is making it much more safe than batteries and than lithium-ion batteries. So this is why we are working in sectors, not only like in the passenger vehicle sector, but in sectors which have huge needs for safety and security. We're working in the space industry, we're working in the aeronautics industry, working in the defense industry. So here, what is absolutely critical is the fact that this energy storage is not going to explode and also is going to last for a long time. And here again, the competitive advantage of both supercapacitors and super batteries is huge. Super batteries, for instance, have 50,000 life cycles, whereas the lithium-ion batteries lithium-ion battery is going to have 4,000 or 5,000 life cycles. For supercapacitors, it's even more important. It's 1 million cycles. However, supercapacitors charge and discharge within seconds, so it's really for the really fast reaction. Whereas the super battery is more similar to any other battery, where they can actually they can charge in less than a minute. However, they can last for around 45 minutes until charging again. But the question of life cycles is particularly important. It's a strong competitive advantage for our technology, alongside the fact that it cannot explode, it cannot burn, and this is a major difference compared with lithium-ion batteries, for instance.
Thank you very much. Are there any more questions from the audience? Yes, there is. Can you please pass the mic to this person? Thank you.
Yes, hello. Thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask about downsides of this technology. In which use cases we still need to use lithium batteries instead of this new one?
Thank you very much for this question. And indeed, our technology is not a silver bullet. So there are many applications where this technology is not going to be suitable. If we compare it with lithium-ion batteries has much more energy density. So supercapacitors and superbatteries have the power density. It's really high power and fast charging capability. But lithium-ion batteries have much more energy density, meaning that for all the applications you need long duration, here lithium-ion batteries are much more efficient. And actually, our products would not be suitable, for instance, to power your electric vehicle, your electric car, for instance. I mentioned one example with the garbage trucks, or another example as well with the mining trucks that are using our super battery. Here, they're using our super battery and not lithium-ion batteries, specifically because of the fast charging capability of the super battery. So you charge within less than a minute, and then you can power the vehicle for 45 minutes. So whereas a lithium-ion battery would need much more time for charging and will not even have the high power that is necessary. Why we're working with sectors like mining sector is because the mining truck is, unlike a passenger vehicle, a mining truck is always going to be from point A to a point B and then come back. It's always the same rotation, and they're never more than 45 minutes away from a charging station. So that's why what really matters to a mining truck is the high power. I mean, you need the power to really give the right energy and power for this truck. That's the first thing. But you need to charge extremely fast because these mining trucks need to operate during 24 hours. And here, then, what matters is the cumulative time of cumulative charging time over 24 hours. And with our super battery, in total, they end up just having 1 hour of cumulative charging times, whereas for lithium-ion batteries, it would be around 4 hours of cumulative charging time. But again, it's because it's an application like mining trucks, where the trucks, and the same with the garbage trucks, are always following the same route. So you can install a charging station and then charge within a couple of seconds.
Thank you, Arno, for your answer. Okay, I see this. We're running out of time. Arno, thank you very much for such an inspiring presentation and sharing your experience, and for being here with us. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a great day.